So, helmets. They are the most important piece of kit because they keep you from banging your head on the ceiling of your grandmother's basement while you're conducting a LARP session. I'm kidding. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be focusing on our beloved brain buckets. Now, before we get into this video, I want to take the liberty to say that I am not showcasing my ballistic helmet on here for certain reasons. As this channel and as life progresses, we will definitely see more videos on this topic in the future. But for right now, we're keeping things pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So without further ado, we're going to hop into this helmet setup. And this is a Team Wendy X-Fill LTP. It is a polymer high-cut bump helmet made by the venerable company Team Wendy and is one of my most favorite helmets that I've had to date. Now, the reason why I chose a bump helmet is because I'm not doing anything serious that requires me to be using a ballistic helmet 24/7, because ask any GWAT vet, ask any combat veteran, and they're going to tell you that their head and neck started to get super heavy when they were wearing the older MICHs or the past GTs and stuff like that, especially when you put things like goggles, rhino mounts, night vision, helmet lights, etc. on them. So for this thing, I've decided to keep a lot of things light. Now, the reason why a lot of people will say, oh, it's just a bump helmet from Team Wendy, and it's super freaking expensive, because the price point of these, I think, is maybe $400 or higher. And people will often ask, like, oh, since this is so overpriced, why don't I just get an airsoft helmet, or why don't I just get a bike helmet? But you're kind of batting the same topic between the two. Airsoft helmets are basically glorified bike helmets that offer very little when it comes to the amount of real-world customization. Now, I've tried putting a regular Neurotos mount, which, as you can see here, fits great on this Wilcox mount on the LTP. And I've tried putting it on a mock Wilcox on an Airsoft OpsCore clone, and it doesn't fit. Like, it fits no actual real-life attachments aside from maybe your anime catgirl patches and such. So that's one reason why you should buy a reputable bump helmet. The second is that there are a couple different manufacturers out there that make pretty good high-cut bump helmets, and I would definitely look into Safariland, I would look into M-Tech, and Cry Precision, or Team Wendy, to name a few. And you're missing the bigger picture because there are a lot of great suppliers out there. It just takes a matter of time, whether you're an eBay browser or an Amazon browser, or you just like to get it simply from the website. So that's up to you. The second thing when choosing a helmet is that there are a few key things you should take into consideration. So one, what exactly are you doing? And two, do you need your helmet to stop a bullet? And three, do you need your helmet to carry certain amounts of gear? So, as of currently, this bump helmet is a pretty minimalistic setup, and we're going to hop right into it, starting at the front. So, the X-Fill LTP comes with a built-in Wilcox mount, as you can see here, and it can take Wilcox G24s for mounting quad nods when you're going on those late night pizza roll runs, or it can simply take the poor boy Neurotos setup, and it holds it in there really well because I can easily manipulate the rhino mount and J-arm as such. Now, night vision is an entirely new topic for another day, but for night vision, I just recommend getting something quality, something that works. So save your money, kids. Don't invest in cheap stuff. So moving back from the rhino mount, we have ESS ballistic goggles. Now, when it comes to eye pro on helmets, I prefer to wear actual glasses style eye pro as opposed to having goggles, because I can wear goggles while I'm using this helmet, or I can wear the more traditional style of eye pro that's almost like you're wearing combat sunglasses and such. But once I swivel these down, we're going to go over hearing protection in a second. I can simply just cover my eyes like that, and voila, suddenly I have eye protection. So it's great if you're moving through a really windy environment, or if you're in a vehicle. Anybody who's ever stood out the back hatch of a military vehicle definitely knows what I'm talking about. So that's why For minimalist helmet setups, if you don't like wearing the glasses style APRO, at least keep some form of protection on your helmet. So moving to the side, the Team Wendy bump helmets come with these M-LOK rails, and a lot of people will say like, oh, arc rails are better because they were influenced by some 8,000-year-old GWAT veteran whose OpsCore helmet has been worn shiny because that's how long he's been in. But I like these M-LOK rails simply because I can slide these adapters here, and these are Earmore M32s, so poor boy pelters. And I can slide these adapters in and just lock them into place with these little dials here, and I rarely have to worry about them coming undone. Now when it comes to the mounts swivel back. So it's great if I'm using the hearing protection during a gunfight because the Earmores work almost exactly like pelters and block out a lot of that loud noise going on around you, but it keeps some of that passive noise in the same hearing frame. But if I ever need to cool my ears off, I can simply just rotate them back, and although it does add a bit of weight to the back of the helmet, at least my ears aren't overheating, because if you've ever had sensitive ears, you would know. So inside the helmet is basically all Team Wendy stock pads. Now, the one major thing that I really like about the Team Wendy series is that it comes with the CamFit boa retention system. Now, what this does is it's a little dial connected to these strings that go around the front of the helmet, and what you do is you put it on, you buckle your chin strap, and in the back you can tighten it to fit your helmet. Because I don't know if you guys have ever worn ACH, MICH style helmets before, but when you have all that weight on your helmet, especially if you have night vision devices or maybe lights moving around and you're jiggling around and moving your head, and that weight is just moving back and forth, and that's liable to cause a head or neck injury at the very least. It's great that they included this boa retention system in order to keep accidents like that from happening. So that's one of the major things I like about it. The other is that the pads are really super comfortable. Although they might look thin, they are extremely comfortable, and I would recommend looking into those or the Hardhead Veterans Micro Lattice pads. Now, moving back, it's just a simple piece of shock cord that connects to the little air holes inside the helmet, and what that does is, for now, it keeps the back of my goggles in place, and it also keeps the radio cable for the Earmore M32s in place, because when I'm not using comms or when I'm not working with a team that requires the use of radios, I can just simply stuff it back here and fold it up and make it all clean. But if I do really need to use any sort of communications with teammates, I can just utilize the cable like so and then manage it into whatever radio system I'm using, whether that be a Baofeng or a Motorola. So it's great that they have that option to keep all that back here and keep it from getting messed up in your other kit, because the last thing you want to be doing in a gunfight is trying to untangle yourself from a stray radio wire. So it's great that they have that back here. Now, as for the helmet itself, it's a really lightweight polymer shell. It comes with a lot of breathability, so all these holes here allow my head to get plenty of air, and it's really welcome, especially in hotter environments. As you can see, I'm a bit sweaty right now, and this helmet is doing its job and keeping me pretty cool, because if I was going over my ballistic helmet, I'd be dying right now. So that's great, and it also has these Velcro patches, so you can attach battery counterweights, you can attach IR strobes, you can maybe do a TNVC Mohawk, and the possibilities are endless with Velcro. I mean, you could probably even attach your anime spirit patches if you really wanted to. I wouldn't really recommend it, but this helmet is a one of a kind. I definitely like it for its unique design, because all these angles here are what you'll also see on Team Wendy's ballistic helmets, and what they're designed to do is they're designed to aid in rounds glancing away instead of penetrating straight through the helmet and causing backface deformation, or going straight through and just killing the user who's wearing it. So I like that their design carried on into their bump helmet. And that's really all I got Now, the helmet itself and the setup on it might look really complicated at first, but when it comes to helmet setups, there's really, really uber complicated, and then there's something simplistic. Like, this is possibly as simplistic as I can get a helmet, aside if I wanted to take a bike helmet and go old school Delta Force with it. But there are far more different options of customization out there. But keep in mind when you're using a helmet and you're trying to outfit it out, is that every ounce you add to your head is a liability. Because you don't know whether you'll be using that equipment or not. But I'd rather keep that equipment on hand instead of having it already attached to my head. Because that's a couple more ounces on my neck. That's a couple more ounces on my spine. That's more weight that moves side to side on my head when I'm conducting movement. And that's something you really got to think about, because while you guys might be young and shy and sprightly right now, it will carry on into the future and definitely leave you with some lasting form of head or neck pain. And it could potentially cause injury while you're still using it, so I would definitely keep that in mind. But the thing that matters most, and I will always say this in the end of most videos, is that you train with your helmet on, because I've seen a lot of people train out there on flat ranges, and they'll have these really expensive helmet setups. They'll have these Crye Precision airframes with OpsCore amps, and they'll have the Wilcox and the Quad Nods or PVS 31s and all that good jazz on their helmet, but they'll leave it in the back of their truck and they'll never train with it on because they don't like how it feels. Now, what I would recommend is starting out with something pretty small, pretty minimalistic, like a bump helmet, and get some training in on that. And when you've got enough money for a ballistic helmet, get that and do some reps and get some reps in with it, because if you don't like your helmet's uncomfortability, just think that if you're going out, let's say worst case scenario here, if you're going out and you don't like wearing your helmet because it causes your head and neck too much pain because you've never trained in it, and you get shot in the head, you'll die. So definitely build up that fitness, definitely build up that strength, and get out there and train. And that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more. And this is something that I've thought of putting at the end of these videos, but I decided to do it now because I've been a bit of a scaredy cat when it comes to it. But don't hesitate to request content. You know, maybe request gear reviews on something different or something more out there, something that I haven't seen yet that isn't really mainstream. But I have nothing against people requesting content. It might take a longer time to make, so please keep that in mind. But that's all I got for you guys, and I will see you in the next video.